Biodiversity and farmland. So over here I have everything you need to know for exam. So first of all, let me show you what I have. This is my hedgerows here, and then I have my crops, and this is the nutrients, so that's the soil. I have weed growing, I have pest on the crops which damage the crop, and I have these species which eat the pest. And then I'm growing crops here, only one type of crop, so monoculture. So let's start talking about this. Hedgerows. Now, farmers grow hedgerows. Why? How does that increase biodiversity? Number one, I can say, if I have hedgerows, I have more habitat for different insects, different birds, different species. That increases species, which increases biodiversity. If I have hedgerows planted and maintained, I have more food source for different types of species, and that would increase the species, which will increase biodiversity. Right. Also, guys, let's talk about now, if you were to remove the hedgerows, why is that a good thing? Farmers might want to remove the hedgerows, so therefore they have more space to grow their crops, so for more yield. Also, you see those pests can come from the hedgerows. So if you don't have the hedgerows, you have less pest. Also, the weed can come from the hedgerows, a source of weed. So what are weed? Weed are unwanted plants, and farmers, they will take it out or use herbicide, chemicals to kill them. Why? You see, the weed, it wants nutrients, but the crop also needs nutrients. So what's happening is competition. We don't want competition. Nutrients are very limited. We want it for the crops, not for the weeds. So farmers take the weed out. So hedgerows can be a source. Weed can come from hedgerows. That's a good thing, not to have hedgerows. Also, you can go one step further. Hedgerows, are they living or non-living? They are living. They are plants as well. So what do they need? They need nutrients. But the nutrients is limited and is so special. We want it for the crops only. So if you don't have hedgerows, you have less competition, more nutrients available for who? For our crops to grow. Now we have pest here. These are pests damage crops. So what farmers do, they spray pesticide to damage and to kill the pest. How does that decrease biodiversity? Number one, if you are killing the different types of pests, you are killing the species. That decreases biodiversity. Not only that, look, these are different species that eat the pest. Their food source is the pest. So if you don't have pests, if they are eliminated, will these species be living or dying? They will die because the food source has been taken out. Farmers, they take out the weeds, herbicide. How does that decrease biodiversity? Number one, you have weed. Weed is a species, right, of plant. So you have decreased species, decreases biodiversity. Number two, this weed is eaten by other species. So therefore, these species will be decreased in number because you have decreased food source availability. Let's go into monoculture. A farmer, they might want to grow only one thing. Let's say they only want to grow, potatoes everywhere. I know it's flowers, but let's say potatoes everywhere. So that decreases biodiversity because you are growing one type of plant. So that decreases biodiversity. Number two is that means the food source available for other species is very limited. You are only supporting a few individual organisms. So that's why that will further decrease biodiversity. Let's go to selective breeding. Farmers, maybe they want a particular type of, I don't know, let's say you're growing mangoes, you want a pink sweet mango only. How does that decrease biodiversity? Remember, mangoes are different types. You have different genes of mangoes, different alleles. You have red, you have green, you have pink, you have sweet, you have sour, and so on. So many different variations. So what are you doing? You are decreasing gene pool, and that decreases genetic diversity.